Alright, so opening day is only like 3 weeks away now. So it seems like there's no time better than now to make 3 bold predictions on the Padres 2021 season. Now before I start, I want to give some context on these predictions. All 3 of these predictions are pretty far out there. To be honest, if all 3 of these predictions come true, you guys should arrest me or something, because I'm definitely like plotting with the Illuminati or something. But that's why these are bold predictions, not shy predictions. These are things that I can see happening, but I also don't think are very likely to happen. Hopefully, at least one of these will be right, and I'll become famous for it. But anyways, let's start with prediction number 1. The first prediction is that the Padres win the National League Rookie of the Year award. That in itself is already a pretty bold prediction, but I'm going to double down on this. I don't think the guy that's going to win this award is the guy that most people think is probably going to be the best rookie on the Padres. Nope, I don't believe in Mackenzie Gore. At least right now. If you watch his spring training games, his stuff can look really good at times. But his control still isn't all that great. They talked last season and this season about how he has some mechanical issues to work through, and I'm assuming that's why his control is still faulty at times. And think about it. Last season, when the Padres were in the playoffs and they needed an arm, remember? Everyone was injured. Lamet was gone, Clevenger was gone, Paddock wasn't on the roster. They needed an arm. And despite that, they did not call him up. And I think that's a sign that the Padres front office isn't going to try to rush him to the majors. That's why I don't think he'll make the MLB roster, at least at the beginning of the season. I don't see him coming up to the majors until probably the end. And by then, he'll be in no position to run for this award. So the question is then, who do I think is going to win the National League Rookie of the Year? The answer's simple. The guy they did call up last season, Ryan Weathers. When he pitched last season in the NLDS against the Dodgers, stuff looked fine. It looked pretty good. He has a fastball in the mid to high 90s. His slider sweeps across the plate. I think his stuff is very good. And I think he starts the season as the Padres' 5th and final starting pitcher. I don't think Lamet will be fully ready by then, and so the Padres will have an empty spot in their rotation, and I think Weathers is in line to win it. Look, I already explained why I think Gore's already out of that position. So Weathers' only real competition is Adrian Morejon. And I think Morejon starts in the pen. His ERA this spring has been pretty solid through 7 innings. But the problem is he's still walking so many hitters. He has 6 walks in 7 innings. And his command is still clearly an issue. So with that, I don't think the Padres put him in the rotation. I think Weathers wins that last spot, puts on a show, and earns that spot the rest of the season. Even when Lamet comes back, I think Weathers beats Paddock out for that last spot in the rotation. Why do I think that? Well, you can watch my last video on Paddock. But that's my first prediction, that the Padres win the National League Rookie of the Year award. My second prediction is that the Padres find the best catcher of this generation. Not Austin Nola, not Victor Caratini. No, the man, the myth, the legend that is Luis Campusano. I've been saying this since the end of last season. Buy Campusano stock while it's low right now. Campusano is going straight to the moon. Dude started like 1 game last season, hit a dinger. Then he got injured, but that's all that matters, bro. This guy is going to be great. I think by the end of the season, he would have started 50 games and hit 10 home runs. That is my prediction. Look, I've said this from the beginning, but I've never been that high on Nola ever since the Padres traded for him. I made a video on that Mariners Padres trade, which was actually the beginning of people actually subscribing to my channel. So if you guys want to go watch that video, go for it. If you've already seen it, and that's what brought you to this channel, thank you for coming. But no matter the reason you're here, I was right. Nola hasn't been that good for the Padres. In the 19 games he played for the Padres last season, his line was terrible. He had 17 strikeouts. And to put that into perspective, he struck out 17 times in 29 games for the Mariners last season. For one reason or another, he hasn't produced that well in San Diego. And let's be real, he's getting up in age and he's not the future of the Padres. Then there's Victor Caratini. He's clearly Darvish's preferred catcher and he's probably going to continue to catch his games. But let's be real, he's not the future either. Don't get me wrong, I think he's a solid player, but I don't think he's going to be anything more than an average, mediocre catcher. But Campusano, he is the future. So buy his stock now. Moving on to the third and final prediction of mine. This is probably the least likely prediction to happen because, well, it's record breaking. I think the Padres infield will be the best infield in the 21st century. Strictly based on WAR, the best infield in the 21st century was the 2009 New York Yankees that went on to win the World Series. If you remember correctly, that team had Mark Teixeira at first, Robinson Cano before PEDs at second base, the captain at short, and big boy A-Rod playing third. That infield combined for a WAR of 20.4. That means for my prediction to come true, the average infielder for the 2021 San Diego Padres has to have about a +5 WAR. Now that's going to be difficult. Eric Hosmer in his career, in his best season, put up a 4.4 WAR. He will have to have a career best year in order for this prediction to come true. But I don't think Hosmer has to do much better than his career high. If he gets a 4 WAR, I think that's good enough for the Padres. Why? Because the left side of our infield is there to back it up. Machado in his best season had a 7.5 WAR, which is higher than any of the WARs put up by any individual infielder for the New York Yankees. And Machado's in his prime right now. I think this season is probably going to be his prime year. And so I'm expecting a career high year from Manny Machado. And then you got the guy that everyone is so excited to see, Fernando Tatis Jr. Isn't it crazy to think about how this guy literally hasn't even played 162 games yet? He hasn't even played a full season's worth of games yet, and he has a 14-year contract. To be honest, I think it's well deserved. In 2019, in 84 games, he put up a WAR of 4.1. Now, WAR is a cumulative stat. The more better things you do, the higher your WAR goes. And so assuming he could have played the rest of that season out, his WAR would have been even higher. And so with the combination of Tatis and Machado, I think the Padres can do it. The Padres can have the best infield of the 21st century. And that's how the Padres will win the 2021 World Series without winning the NL West. Whoops. Guess I gave you an extra prediction. Leave a comment down below about which of these 3 predictions you think are going to come true.